Welcome back. Well, the SGX Nifty is indicating a big gap up. You need to adjust both those two. That's the SGX Nifty and compare it with the Nifty futures as well. But plenty of stocks to discuss. And we have Sanjiv Bhasin, Director at IIFL Securities, who joins us now on the show. Hi, Sanjiv. Morning. Thanks so much for joining in and wishing you a very happy Diwali as well. We almost went to that target of around 18,000 odd. And you said that the second half of October will be even better. So on the Nifty first, Sanjiv, they are still sticking to that, 18,000 in the next few days?
Yeah, good morning, Nigel. Wish you and everyone on the panel and all your viewers a very, very happy Diwali. 18,000 is coming today, Nigel. I told you it's coming on Diwali or Diwali Eve. So where is Sonia? Tell her 18,000
I'm right here.
Today.
I'm right here.
Well, I hope she remembers that I was at 17,000. She was asking me. I told you Diwali will be close at 18 or maybe beyond that. So 18 is coming today. Let the bears look for cover on wherever they want to, okay? Bond yields are at a 1 month low. Dollar has weakened. Emerging markets are in a sweet spot and results. Bank results are beating all expectation. So fingers crossed, 18,000 expiry today.
Okay, yes, Sanjeev, hats off to you. You did mention that 18,000 level is coming before you know it. You know, these results have looked really spectacular. I mean, especially from banks like, right, whether it's ICICI, Axis Bank. Is the time come to put some more money here, or do you think that most of the good news is in the price?
So, Sonia, take it with a pinch of salt. You named two of the large caps, but you forgot to mention Can Bank, State Bank, Bank of Baroda, Union Bank, and PNB. They're up 40% in a month. And you know, Canara Bank results, whatever parameter you take for a Union Bank, these are so under-owned that they can rise 20% still and look cheap. So I think that banks are in a very sweet spot. Their liability franchise has played out well. And I think credit is expanding at a humongous pace. So, you know, there was this fear that there will be, less demand and inflation. All those worries still exist. But in the Indian context, just the sheer weight of reopening and getting back to work or getting back to pleasure is humongous. If you went to airports, you went to smaller cities, it's unimaginable. So I think the best is yet to come. The Fed pivot may be round the corner. There will be a global rally. On the 8th of November, the Republicans are slated to win the midterm Senate polls. So I can go on because I'm bullish.
Okay, Sanjiv, good morning. Yeah, many congratulations for calling that right. But what do you climb on other than banks, and what do you stay out?
Yeah, morning, Lata. Wish you a very, very happy Diwali. And So Lata, look, the proverbial, say, cement counters which have underperformed, Ultratech, which we've been very bullish. We think that the worst of coke prices and the unforeseen monsoon may be behind. Construction is in a very sweet spot. DLF has reduced debt at the highest pace ever. So real estate, cement go hand in hand as ancillaries. Autos are showing you see the numbers. Maruti will, my office is just next to the Maruti entry gate. And I can tell you, Maruti will sell 35 lakh cars in 2023-24. That's a far cry from what most people were saying, because the orders and the amount of waiting is humongous. Now, similar is the case with consumer. You can take it with a pinch of salt that inflation fears will be biting the rural side. And we know that two-wheelers have underperformed. But there is a whole host. Not to forget, last but not least, the capital goods stocks. You know, the ABB, Siemens, Cummins are hitting new highs, which is telling me that capex, which has not been there for the last 10 years, is now on the anvil. And some of these large players like Thermax and the names which I took could be very big beneficiaries of this new spate of capex.
Okay, all right. Sanjiv, before we go on, I wanted to wish you a belated happy birthday. I believe you celebrated your birthday a couple of days ago, so hope it was a good one. And you're giving us quite a few treats for our viewers, so we're going to keep an eye out on those stocks as well, Sanjiv. Well,
thank you, Nigel. Thank you for the warm wishes. And yes, your party is due at Punjab Da Tadka whenever you and the team are here. The best butter chicken. And let me tell you, just turned 60 but feeling 30. and there's way to go.
Amazing. Wish you well, Sanjiv. Talking about the butter chicken, you're spicing things up. But Dabur, they spice things up actually. They report an inline set of numbers, but they're making a foray into a new market. What's your view on the stock?
So, see, Dabur has been a quiet outperformer. It has not done much, maybe on the up or the downside. but it has been a very steady performer. And yes, margins have been hit by most of the large players. But look at the foray of products which they are into. This new acquisition, I've not read much about that, but for a cash-rich company which generates, almost 10% of its overseas on this, would be a very, very good, play for them to get into it. So it's telling you that most large FMCG stocks are taking it with a pinch of salt, that maybe inflation fears are there for real, but they have the pricing powers, and if we see some more weakness on palm oil and other commodities, that could be the tailwind for this. So we think Dabur is a relative outperformer. It has been a very steady stock, and you could see at least a 15% upside if the index is going to go to new highs.
Okay, well, Sanjiv, you do stay on because I have many more questions for you. I also want to ask your thoughts on IT stocks because some of them have rallied 10-12% this month already, like HCL Tech. But just stay on for a bit because we have to take some technical calls from our experts as well. We have Mitesh Thakkar and Sudarshan Sukhani who are joining in now. Gentlemen, morning to both of you. Sudarshan, looks like a gap-up opening is coming as per what the SGX is suggesting. Do you think, I mean, we're just about 3-4% away.
It's a study that PSUs may do that. They may pause for a few days. That's why they are not in my list.
It's a big move in many of these stocks.
Canada, BOB,
Absolutely.
PNB, BOI, everything.
It's a big move. They're not just in PSU banks. But Sanjiv Bhasin is still with us. Sanjiv, two pockets. So let me start one by one. On IT, some of these stocks have had a good run. I mean, in the month of October, HCL Tech, Infosys, all up 10-12%. You like any of these names?
Yes, Sonia. So 3 of these have been our top picks as a SIP, as an investment, but for much lower levels, and we've stood our ground. HCL Tech, Tech Mahindra, and Persistent. All 3 have been outperformers in the recent past, but we still think there is room on the upside given the valuation discount to the large cap and the type of guidance which HCL Tech and Persistent have given. I mean, they've been the most positive amongst the tech pack. So we are looking at these 3 stocks are on our buy list on any decline. And as a disclosure, all these 3 are under our coverage as buys from the last 2-3 months.
Oh, okay, all right. Sanjiv, today metals could do well because the dollar index has cooled off. So LME, some of those prices, aluminium in fact is moving higher because there is reports that suggest that maybe Russia gets banned again with regard to the aluminium produced. What's your take on this space? And would you go with the ferrous or the non-ferrous stocks?
Correct. So, Nigel, if you recall last week also when I had said that the dollar is very close to topping out, and I put my neck out that we are headed to 106 before we, see the next round. You've seen, all fingers crossed, the new UK Prime Minister. I think it's a proud moment that an Indian origin is back, and he's, a professional banker by knots, and I think the pound has had a very good rally.
Yeah.
So I think globally we've seen the Bank of Canada raise rates by 0.5 instead of 0.75. If the Fed pivot works in November, then the dollar is headed lower. And our toast of the pick is Jindal Steel. Jindal Steel has reduced debt in the maximum way. They are looking at putting on new capex, and Jindal Steel could be a real outperformer. Aside from that, we like both Hindalco, Tata Steel, and Vedanta. So if you bought a basket of them or you bought a fund which has exposure to the metal side, that would stand handy. But please do a SIP because they are a volatile, a basket of stocks given their lineage with the dollar. But if the dollar is topping out, you could easily see 10% upsides in most of these counters.
Okay, that's very helpful advice. What should you play if the rupee strengthens, and metals would be one of them. One of the reasons why Sanjiv is recommending metals. Do stay on, Sanjiv. We have to take a quick break. But Sanjiv was talking about banks. Everyone's talking about banks. So to understand, to get the pulse of the sector, we have with us the biggest banker in the country, Mr. Dinesh Kumar Khara, Chairman of State Bank, joining us in a minute after this break.